Hi, I am Kedger on two wheels, and this is the new Yamaha Neos, or the Neo Neos, or the Neos Neo Neos. Anagram for the one. This is the one. I've said many times that electric motorcycles or electric vehicles will only really take off, when the big manufacturers start making normal vehicles that happen to be electric. On the motorcycle side, I also always said that when Honda or Yamaha released an electric motorcycle that was a perfectly normal motorcycle, but just happened to be electric, that's when things would start really rolling in. This is the one. I know Honda has one, but Honda's equivalent is more an e-bike than one of these, because this is a 50cc scooter that happens to have an electric engine. This is the old Neos, only electric. The manufacturers have all dropped the 50cc engines. They no longer exist because of emission rules in the European Union. Two strokes are just too polluting and noisy, so that's off the table. Making a four-stroke 50cc engine is just silly, so electric makes all the sense in the world. Plus, these 50cc engines, these 50cc bikes, are usually made, at least mainly in Portugal, but I think it's true for the rest of Europe, for teenagers, 14 to 16, which is when they are legal. This is the only thing they are legally allowed to ride at 14. At 16, they will all switch to 125s, and they will all want the R125, and they will dump this. But this is the entry bike for all of us. This is what we all grew up. When we were growing up, when we were teenagers, everyone had a BWs or a Yamaha DT. In Portugal, the DTLC was, every single high school had dozens of them everywhere. So it was the little 50s. That's what they were built for, and this is what this is built for. This is not built for me. 1.74 meters tall and 100 kilograms with all the gear in. My extra weight is actually, it feels, the bike struggles a bit to go up a very steep uphill with me on it. So it's meant for lighter people, but it still works for me. But remember, this is marketed and this is designed for short rides home to the shops and back, or for the kids just to go to school and back. It's not for big rides. And as such, the batteries are really tiny. This one is the version with 2 batteries, and the range is 37 kilometers on one battery or 67 with 2, which is surprisingly short. But then again, what kid lives 30 kilometers from school? None. They live at most, 15? So that means they can make 4 trips. That means even if they live 15 kilometers from school, which is very far away, they at least can go to school and come back on one battery. If they live some 7.5 kilometers, for easier math, they can go to school, come back home for lunch, go back to school, and then come back home, and the battery will last. Remember, during lunch you can just plug it in for a few minutes to get some extra range, and off you go. So that's the limit. If you are 7.5 kilometers, you can do 4 trips with just one battery, and that's enough. That's really enough. You don't really need more than that for the kids. Even if they are in school and they at lunchtime decide to go somewhere else to have lunch instead of staying in school, they can ride around on this. This is what this is marketed for, and for that it works brilliantly. Since it is an entry bike, it's still pricey. It's an electric vehicle, so that is pricey. The acquisition cost is very pricey. 3,700 euros, and with the 2 batteries, like 4.2, something like that. Some things are not needed, so they're not even on the bike. Other things are still in here. So what do we have? We have disc brake at the front, what appears to be a drum brake at the rear, although I am convinced this also has regenerative braking, so the rear brakes is probably a combo of the engine braking and a drum brake. We have double LED lights at the front, so it's 2 LEDs for low beams and 1 LED for a high beam. The same configuration as you have on the NMAX, but in a very cool, stylish and young look. You don't have a windscreen because at 50 kilometers per hour, which is its top speed, you don't need a windscreen. It looks cleaner that way. You have a very, very simple dash. It barely qualifies as a dash. You have a speedo and you have a clock. And you can change the clock to odometer or a partial odometer, and that's it. And again, you don't need anything to distract the driver. You can connect your phone to the bike. I'm not sure what that brings extra, but I'll probably talk about that at the end, so I can tell you what's the point of connecting your cell phone to the bike, because frankly I don't see one. It's not like you're going to do GPS on it. Maybe to get some telemetry. Okay, you have a space under the seat, as is usual on all scooters. It's not very big, only fits a jet helmet or a lady's purse with 2 batteries. With 1 battery your helmet might fit, depends. This big helmet might not fit, maybe yes, maybe no. The batteries are really easy to remove, so if you have only one, you're fine. You can charge it on the bike, or you can remove the battery. It's light, you can do it with one hand, an adult. A kid might need to use both hands to get it out, but if it's a boy at 14, he'll be strong enough to easily bring it home and charge it. You can charge it at home. It's really, I was really surprised at how light these batteries are. They're not really big. That's why the range is low. It's one of the features. If it was a big, heavy battery, a kid would not be able to take it out. You'd need an adult. That would defeat the purpose. In this case, he can. In an emergency, at school, the kid can just remove the battery and ask a teacher to charge it. So that's a good idea over there. You also have a 12-volt charger, not 5-volt. It's not a USB. It's a 12-volt standard charger, so you need an adapter to charge your cell phone. But it's more flexible on things you can attach to it. You have a cubby hole for your cell phone. I'm going to test because I'm not sure if the cell phone doesn't jump off easily. I'm going to try that out. You have a little hook for your shopping, which is actually made in 2 parts. Make sure that once you put in your shopping or your backpack, it's not going anywhere. And even with a big shopping bag there, I got one of those big reusable bags from Lidl there with groceries, you still can fit your feet. You still can fit your feet. Now that's a tongue twister. Underneath, and it's easy to ride even with a big bag over there. Very surprising. In fact, this whole bike is very surprising. And it's basically the same as the old Neos. The same Japanese build quality, nearly reprehensible. I found one thing, it's not perfect. These plastic covers here for the mirrors are kind of, they're rubbery and they don't really fit very well, but that's nitpicking because it's a Japanese bike. Everything is built perfectly, even though it is the entry-level bike. Full LED headlamp, rear tail lights and indicators. The front indicators look really cool. I think these are actually the same parts as the Tenere ones, which is brilliant from Yamaha. Finally, you guys dumped the old racket-sized halogen indicators and went with these really cool looking, very simple, and now that they're for all bikes, really cheap LED indicators which look just awesome. Finally, Yamaha. That just took a decade. But yeah, that's the Yamaha Neos. Center stand, as you can see, it's on the center stand. It's very usual for these bikes to have center stand. My old BWs didn't even have a side stand. It only had the center stand. Because, well, it was a 20-year-old bike and I think the side stand fell off somewhere along its hard life. Oh, and I forgot. It also has keyless system, which works exactly like the NMAX and the XMAX. It's the same thing, so it's probably lifted straight from those bikes. It's exactly the same mechanism. And riding modes. Well, it has an eco mode which limits the top speed to some 40 kilometers per hour to try and save some battery. So that's it. There's not much else to say. It's an entry-level bike that just happens to be electric, or rather, it's a 50cc bike that just happens to be electric. Top-notch Yamaha. Well done. Let's see how it rides.
And now, under this horrible weather, let's do the start procedure. It's off, down, open, down, on, press run, and it's ready to go, like this. Now on the more
normal notes. Let's try what this bike has been designed to do. Quick shopping runs, short routes, and here is my shopping. It's in the little bag using the little hook. And yes, I came to Lidl. So it's groceries on the little bag on the hook, and it seems stable. I still have room for my feet, which was a bit of a surprise because it really looked like I did not have any room. Suspension, as you can see, is a bit on the stiff side, but it's not a disaster. Then again, these are made to be driven kind of slowly, and at this pace this is okay-ish. Certainly wouldn't want to do some 20 kilometers like this, but where do you know that has multiple kilometers of this kind of pavement? Acceleration is okay. I'd need to actually compare with a 50cc scooter, an internal combustion engine one, because this is that equivalent. Oh, there's a lot of grip from these tires. That is the equivalent, but from an electric point of view. But I guess, from what I remember, riding my old one, I remember I had a 20-year-old Yamaha BWs at some point for the kids to go to school, which is what this bike is also for. And I think this accelerates a bit faster, but has a bit less top speed. Then again, the noise from the 50cc made it seem like it was going faster, because I give it a bit of throttle. Look, I'm already at 50, which is supposedly the top speed of this. And riding in traffic, and there's not a lot of traffic here, you aren't actually impeding cars, which is a surprise. Shit. I was expecting to actually be a hazard on the road, but no, this works. And it's really, really quiet. The complete lack of any sounds is unnerving. Only if you're in a very quiet place can you hear it, the engine engaging, but otherwise it is 100% silent. The loudest noise is actually the tires rolling around. Speaking of which, I really like these. I like that these are regular sized tires, not some weird combination of like 100 width and 11-inch rims. No, this is the standard 13-inch rim from the NMAX, I think. 110 at the front, 130 at the rear, which is way oversized for this. It doesn't really need these big tires, but when you need them, they're there, so I like them quite a lot. Okay, so it does have two modes. You have this mode, which is a normal one, and if I press here, it goes into Echo, where the top speed is degraded. It took a little bit to engage. See, now the top speed goes down to 38 and doesn't move from there. I'm just going to press it again, and it starts accelerating again. This is just so you can save a little bit of battery. I also had the displeasure yesterday of running this on very, 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 very low batteries. It was like at 1% or something, trying to reach home, because I picked it up from MJ Paiva there, not really charged. And then notice I went for a small ride, and then when I noticed that, oh, I only have like 1 bar of 1 battery, so it's nearly dead. It turned on a second light here, which is a turtle, which I guess is a limp home mode, and it became, well, acceleration was cut in half. Top speed was roughly the same, but the acceleration was just about cut in half. So it seemed like they had a lot less torque, the same power but less torque. So now I'm going to try it out on this big uphill. What's going on with this dude? Did his bike die here? I guess so. Okay, let's just stop here and see the acceleration. This is quite a steep uphill. You can see from the cars and from the angle from the house, which is flat. So this is a steep uphill. So let's roll throttle. And remember, I am 100 kilograms. Bom dia! Precisa de ajuda?
Não, deixa. Também mora aqui perto já.
Morreu?
Deixar, obrigadinho.
Okay, sem problema. So let's start again. Slow and smooth. And remember, I am 100 kilograms on top of this. This is designed for smaller riders, again, kids. So not 100, but roughly half that. So this is the equivalent of riding this with a pillion, which at least in Portugal is illegal for kids to do for more than obvious reasons. There's a lot of grip from these tires. I like them. I have to really pump the rear brake to get it to lock up. Look. Really hard in wet conditions. Awesome. I think it's combined braking, not ABS. There is no ABS, as you saw. Then again, I'm not sure if this has combined braking, because I don't feel the combined braking. Usually when there's combined braking, you brake on... Oh, hang on. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because when I brake with the rear now, I felt the front diving a little bit. So I guess this has combined braking. But I haven't seen it in the brochure, so I might be wrong. Price is kinda steep, but it does have the big advantage of not having a lot of maintenance, or any maintenance at all. Riding, as you can see, I'm following a car. That's why I'm randomly going. I'm just following the car to show you that it can keep up the pace with a normal road-going car. So it's not a hazard on the road. Acceleration is good enough that you don't need to go full throttle everywhere, which is nice, surprising but nice. I'm not actually going only half throttle just to keep speed. Now I have to brake a little. So following cars, or being followed by cars, in these roads, these local roads, which is what kids will be using to get to school, they won't be using highways. You cannot bring this to the highway, it is illegal. This is the equivalent to a 50cc scooter. So it is illegal to ride around with this on the highway, but for any kind of in-town roads like this, perfectly fine. I might just even have to overtake this guy because he's going so slowly. Yeah, I will. And on an uphill, on a 50cc scooter, and it works. Pretty cool. My plan was to come here because this is quite quiet. Let's stop again. Again, uphill. Really hard to... I'm going to try and lock up the front brake next time. So, roll throttle. Slow and smooth. Uphill. Okay, if it's flat, it goes really well. So quiet. This being so quiet is really cool. I really like this. You're going to say that you need the engine sound to be heard, but a 50cc scooter is hardly heard at all anyways. It's just annoying. Especially the two-strokes. It's just annoying. I like some two-stroke sounds, but those little 50cc's are just annoying. And they're hardly detectable anyways. So the point is, when every vehicle is electric, our towns are going to be really quiet, and it's going to be absolutely awesome. So I like these quiet bikes. As you can see, I just wasted 1 bar on the first battery. Ouch. As you can also see, the suspension is a bit stiff, but then again, I am much heavier than this is made to. But it goes anywhere, really easy, and I enjoy it. This is a fun bike to ride, to be honest. It's very light. Let's try and lock up the front, if I can. Jesus, it's quite nearly impossible. It brakes really well. I like the brakes. I like the big fat tires, which is why you can't easily lock up the front, because the tire is a big fat tire. It's very secure. It gives you confidence. It's not one of those ultralight motorcycles that you're constantly in fear of just flipping over, because whenever you blink, the bike moves direction. No, this is stable. Kind of stays in place. You tell it to go this way and it goes that way and doesn't go anywhere else. 104, 33 kilometers, so I made some 13. They're not going to like, because I'm going to fill this up with kilometers. Charging is a breeze. I'm sure I mentioned that on the other video. There's not much more to say. This is it, basically. There's a horn, and there's the start button, indicators and lights. And that's it. Easy to ride. I'm beginning to have Tenere thoughts. I was thinking of just going up that hill.
What do they want? Oh shit. Okay. It's light and nimble, so I can do this safely. The guy said it's backing up because it can't turn around or can't go through this place here. So it's light and easy to ride, stable, see? You can lean it over with confidence and it doesn't go anywhere. Even in the wet, which is very nice. See? This is what I meant, that the market will explode once one of the big ones starts making these. This is a 50cc scooter from Yamaha with its impeccable build quality. Even though this is a cheaper bike, and you see this plasticky thing is not perfectly flat, but the rest of the bike is rock solid, rides perfectly, great brakes, great tires, great handling for a 50cc scooter, obviously. And it just happens to be electric. It's like a motorcycle that just happens to be electric, and I love those. And yeah, that's it. And my little turnaroundish. Hey, there's a little path here. Leads nowhere. So easy. Wow. Well, it is a scooter. A scooter is ridiculously easy under these conditions to like do figure eights. Okay. Jesus, these handlebars turn a lot. This makes it super agile. Look at this. And the throttle is very easy to dose, on account of it being an electric motorcycle and a scooter at the same time. So it's really easy to just roll throttle slightly, and it goes so smooth and silent. I like this one. And with, well, a high starting price, but a very, very cheap and very, very low running costs. Gas is nearly free because this has very little capacity, so it'll cost nearly nothing. Let's say 10 cents per the equivalent. I don't know. I have to do the math somewhere, and I'll show you the math. But it will not use tires. It will not use tires because it has no power to destroy any kind of tire. So these tires will basically last until they're completely dry and start rotting. It will not use brakes because, well, it doesn't have enough mass to use your brake pads a lot. So you'll be using these brake pads basically forever. Works well on those, going up and down the speed bumps. There's no maintenance, there's no oil to change, so what are you going to be doing this on maintenance? It's like brake pads every 10 years? Seriously, how many kilometers do you think these brake pads can last? Like 10. So if these brake pads last for 10,000 kilometers, which is ridiculously low, still this rides so little because, again, it's a kid doing like 15 kilometers a day. It'll take ages to run out these brake pads. Literal ages. So there's no maintenance. So it's just the upfront cost. From then on out, very little. So that's it for the test ride. It was a bit different of a test ride, but this is a bit different of a motorcycle. So I just basically went to school with it, like a young kid going, okay, yeah, I live over back there where Lidl was, and I'm coming back to school, which could be like this building. So nice and simple, and most importantly, especially for parents buying these for kids, safe. Seriously, look at this. This actually brakes, and I did not even brake all that hard. I just did okay, let's stop here. If I have to brake suddenly like this, good brakes. Why? Fat tires, disc at the front, and the rear is probably a traditional drum brake, but it has the engine on the wheel, so the engine probably provides some braking for, I hope, regenerative braking to recharge the battery. Also, didn't find that in the brochure, but I'm sure it has, because electric engines should have that. It's a no-brainer to add that to a bike, because it gives you basically free range, free extra range. So yeah, that's it. The Yamaha Neos 50 test drive. Cage out.